Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the 100 Club podcast. I'm Dr. Pam Peak, and I'm your host. And we're going to be sharing stories of, I don't know, mental and physical transformation. Isn't that what you really want to hear? Yeah, it's all about stories. And we're going to do this with amazing women and men who love to lift heavy things, mentally and physically. Now, in doing so, we inspire as we perspire and we do the work. We do the work, no matter how tough it is. And, our wonderful guests really share stories of their raw, real, and authentic experiences in life. And you want to hear this everything from challenges, tough times, triumphs. All right. So, this is also a shout out to everyone out there to listen up and join up to Club 100 because honestly, this is a great crew of men and women who support one another in all things taking really good care of yourself mentally, physically, even spiritually. We're going to throw that one in there too, because that's true. So today's guest is just ridiculously inspiring. She's kind of wall to wall inspiring, but you're going to figure this one out for yourself. So, welcome, to the podcast. Everyone give her a big woohoo. And that is Nisi Ewing. Nisi,
What's up,
welcome.
everybody? Thank you.
Okay, so she's Coach Nisi, sometimes referred to as the warden. You know where this is going to go. It's just all good stuff. I have been following Nisi since I became a club member. Amazing workouts. And she also has an incredible history, too. And I just love to have Nisi now tell us, when did you get so inspired to do what you're doing now, which is competitions and figure, as well as reaching out and teaching people? Because look at you, you're in your car, right? And you're like buzzing between places where you have to go and teach, because that's the life of someone who wants to get out there and touch people's lives. So go figure, we caught you in action. Yeah. All right. So the fitness thing, Nisi, tell us, when did you get so inspired?
So I was a homeless pregnant mother in college. And when my son was born, I had to figure out, what do I need to do in order to provide for him? No jobs would take a pregnant mother at the time. And I'm sitting here wondering, like, okay, how am I going to do this? I knew that my parents would help, but as a woman and as an adult, there are some things that you rely on yourself for. And I said, what do you know how to do? Let's think of something that is quick, that can help you build, and and then from there, what will happen is you'll be able to now build on that. And I said, okay, what do I do? Well, I'm in the military, but I'm only a reservist, right? That's not going to provide any money. Then what's next? Fitness. You're great at fitness. You have been great. If you're an athlete across the board, you love what you do, you love how things are going, and why not try that? So I literally started my fitness company. It used to be called Get Right Fitness. Boot camp was $5, and just training people wherever I possibly could. I don't recommend this, but I started off with no business license, no business knowledge. I picked a logo at the time off of Vistaprint. And I came back, it was like, oh, I have a business. Again, I don't recommend this, but I was desperate in order to feed my son, and literally started from there. And as I got, more in depth and trying to figure out and put the pieces together on how to make this work, it led into me getting higher education. I have my doctorate in the field of psychology right now. I'm writing my dissertation in this field about, the struggles of weight loss in general. I have over 17 certifications in the fitness field. I'm an elite fitness trainer now, and just really embedded myself into this. And now my company is called Uncovering the New You.
Now tell me something. Whoa, I didn't know you were in school. Tell me about the school thing. What's going on?
So I knew that after college, once I graduated college, I graduated from Virginia Union University, it took me some time. I ended up deploying to Iraq my first time. I came back, and literally within maybe a year or two, I was deployed again. And I wanted to do something, one to further my education and also two getting back in the civilian sector after back-to-back deployments. And I was like, well, go get your master's. I was one who always believed that education could get you to the places that you want to. However, it really doesn't apply right now. You know what I mean? You've got to kind of have a trade, and you really got to have a purpose and intent. But back then, I thought that that's what it was. And so I got my master's in sports and health science with a minor in exercise psychology. And I wanted to do something that stood me out from the rest of my family also. What can I do now to leave a legacy for my family's name? I have one other doctor in my family. She is a lawyer. She has her doctorate in the field of law, right? Financial law, I believe that's what it is. And I said, well, you know what? Psychology is a thing because I am a certified transformation life coach as well. And I said, me getting into just understanding what people go through on why, I guess, why they struggle with weight so much, and looking at the past traumas, how important that is to address those things, how important mental health is to fitness, being able to connect the two, not really necessarily work as a therapist, but to be able to put the two together will help me as a life coach to empower someone and guide them there, and to also direct them to ways of getting help and what that help look like. So yeah, that's where it comes from.
So when do you finish the degree, or?
I finished the degree. All the education is done. I'm writing my dissertation now. So by the end of the year, I will be officially Dr. Shanicia Ewing with a PsyD.
And then when we're together, we're a pair of ducks.
Yes.
Come on, you loved it. I'm saying that a lot. It's nauseating a lot of people, but that's okay. Well, I mean, you got to tell all of the people in Club 100 when this occurs, so we can have like a major celebration here, for crying out loud. I mean, look, I'm sorry. This is a hell of a story. So you got a homeless pregnant mother, right? And you started putting your thing together. Were you in the military prior to that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I've been in the military going on 21 years. And so I was a reservist. And as a reservist, it sucks, but there are really not a lot of benefits for us. I was already in college. I was getting ready to graduate the following year. So my son would have been born going into my senior year of college. And going through trying to find resources as a reservist is very hard because we're only 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year. And being a pregnant mom, that 2 weeks out of the year doesn't do anything for me. If I'm not working, I can't pay for TRICARE. So, for me, it was more so, what can I do as a pregnant mom? What can I do? Yeah. There's not a lot of resources out there for us.
So you were in the military, which branch?
So I started off in the U.S. Army National Guard. I am currently a U.S. Army Reservist drill sergeant right now.
Okay, very good. Wait a minute. Did you say drill sergeant? See, I'm afraid already. So there you go. So, this is really interesting. You talk about it now, like, how many people are able to just sort of pick themselves up and turn this all around? So that you can develop a life for yourself, including your academics and the rest of it. So this is a real story of transformation in terms of resilience,
Yes.
your grit to be able to, kind of do all of this. And then when did you start figuring out that you wanted to compete?
Well, so my husband, honestly. So my husband is he was a second place winner, 2-time second place winner out of Florida. He has done multiple venues down in Florida, well-known name because he was prior Navy as well. I met him and he looked at me and he noticed that I was, I had just finished working out. And he was like, well, you look like you compete. And I told him no at the time, which was almost 6 years ago. And I was like, no, I don't compete. He said, well, you should. And at one point I wanted to, but I didn't have the determination or the discipline, and which prevented me 6 years ago to do that. And this time around, I said, as a trainer, as a coach, a lot of people look at us like, oh, you're an athlete. Oh, you're in the military. Oh, you've got, you've got all this equipment. But the thing about it was, I didn't have anything to challenge me. So I said, what can I do to show my clients that I'm going through the same system, and process. And so my husband connected me with his coach, and his coach saw that I was disciplined. He was willing to take me on. And I started off as a wellness competitor just to kind of see where I was going to go, what my body was going to do. You know, didn't really do well in wellness. I mean, I still placed I placed first, second, first, third, and fourth in my first show. I came home with three, and then my coach was like, "Nah, we're doing figure this time around. Your body is just way too developed for figure," and that's where I landed. That's where I landed into figure.
Okay, so what is the difference between a competition with bikini and a competition with figure?
All right, so I'll just go through all of them. So when you start out with the female categories, you have bikini, which is really small. They're tiny. They're figure. They look at their glutes and they look at their legs. A lot of I'm sorry. I was getting a call. I'm
We'll
sorry.
edit it, don't worry.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
so let's start
Um,
again. So you're
but,
gonna say, let's talk about the women's category.
all right, let's talk about with the women's categories. Figure, excuse me, bikini to start off with is very small women. They're very tiny, very small frame. They look more so for their glutes. They look more for their legs, looking at how developed they are, their waistline, and just beauty. They're looking for that sass and pizzazz. Your next one, you're going into your wellness. You're going into your women now who have really huge butt and legs, right? They're looking for that muscle, that hamstring tie in your glutes and in your quads, looking at how the size of them. The bigger the glutes, the bigger the butt, the better you do in wellness, right? And I don't. I'm just an olive oil all day long. That's why I didn't do well. Now we go into wellness. Wellness in general is starting, excuse me, figure. Figure is looking at more so of the development of the body overall. So it looks more at the back, the hamstring tie-in, your figure, exactly what it says. Your lats, how good they spread, the development, overall conditioning of the body. And then you go from your figure into bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, or physique for females, it would be considered physique. They're looking at how big they are, the muscularity. And then there's another uh, area I'm not really too much into. Oh, I'm not gonna say I'm not into it, but I don't know a lot about it. But it's fitness, and to where they're doing splits, they're jumping all over the floor. They're like cheerleaders almost, but they're showing how fit they really are with doing a certain routine. I mean, it's extravagant when you see it, but yeah, for women, those are the areas of competing. Those are the areas in which you would be able to compete if you're interested.
So I've seen some pretty amazing pictures of you, and I've seen some of your workouts, etc. And what you did was interesting. You challenged yourself to be able to tell everyone that you identify with their meaning and purpose. They have a meaning and purpose. They're getting up in the morning and they're listening to the warden, you, and you're taking them through their paces and the boot camp and the rest of it, and they're feeling really good, so they have that purpose and meaning. But how does the coach get purpose and meaning? Well, you brought up something really important, and that is the need to constantly challenge yourself.
Yes.
I don't care who you are, how much you think that you're a smarty pants and that you know it all and whatever. At the end of the day, we all need a new challenge. And
Yes.
once we meet that, then we just keep rocking it until we want to change it up again and back and forth. So really cool that you took yourself on with that.
Oh
No
yeah.
question. So I'm going to stop here for just 1 second before we get into that really cool video saw of you from your recent competition. What,
Ah.
at what point? At what point did the Club 100 reach out to you to become a member?
um, in all honesty, I think I posted a video. I posted a video of me doing 6 45-pound plates on each side of the leg press. and I actually completed all my repetitions. My coach, challenges me. Oh, that was a hard day because I had to do 5 sets of 10 with these things on the rack. So, and I think one Miss Dookie, I don't, he reached out to me, was like, "Yo, you are one badass girl. I absolutely love what you're doing. Would you like to be a part of the 100 Club?" And I'm like, "Well, tell me about it. Tell me what's going on." And I was like, "Sure." When he told me the purpose and the mission of the group, great support system. We're all here to educate as many people as we can when it comes down to health and wellness. And yeah, so yeah, it was phenomenal.
Absolutely fantastic. Another question. What role did the military play in your discipline and in your resilience and grit?
Um, I honestly can say that it intensified it, because I grew up military. My father was in the military as well. I come from a military family, uncles, aunts, and we weren't raised that way. My father really did a good job of separating the two, but we still grew up with a lot of discipline, just making sure we were on time. And then I was in sports, being on time, showing up, staying late, knowing the plays. I just done everything that was so strategic all of my life. Everything had a purpose. And I think my son was the turnaround for me. You know what I mean? I think him being born, because I was a single mom. I never pictured myself being a single mom. I never pictured myself being unmarried when I had my son, having to raise him alone, having to figure out how I'm going to feed him, not being able to even buy my son a 25-cent bag of chips. Like, I didn't grow up that way. And for me to get there was embarrassing to me, but it's also embarrassing to my son. How can I raise a young man with this happening? So I need to make up for that. As a mother, I can't rely on anyone else. I can't, I can go and beg the system. Oh, yeah, it's available. But the thing about it is, that's not a lifelong process. I've still got to do something better because he's going to grow. And the system only pays for them for so long. So, for me, I think the discipline really came in is when I had to fight for the survival, getting out of survival mode to take care of my son.
I love that. And this happens to so many people. It's like
Mhm.
a wake up call. There's like an incredible time in your life when something happens, when you
Mhm.
have this aha moment, like, oh man, and you have to just literally fight for your own life and fight for that of your son at the same time, and it tends to be a hell of a wake up call,
Oh yeah.
so that you now all of a sudden find yourself having the fearlessness to do things that you normally probably wouldn't even do, which is exactly what you did when you set up your company and all the rest of it. Now, flash forward, what's your life like?
Life is amazing. I have traveled to 6 different countries as an international speaker. I have spoken to over 3,000 women and men, in this time. I am serving currently 51 people as a master fitness trainer. I have an online virtual fitness class that I teach, Monday through Friday. I mean, I didn't think my company would come so far. I really didn't, because I struggled so much, and so I was just like, okay, it was, I don't know. I mean, it's great. I can't complain about anything. It is absolutely
But
amazing.
you created this. Nobody handed this to you. You created it, and therefore you have to be so very proud of what you accomplished. So speaking of which, tell us about the most recent competition you were in, because this then segues into a very provocative video you did on your Twitter feed.
So I just competed and as a first time figure competitor at the NPC Charlotte in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I placed second, third, and fourth in my first show.
Okay. Now, when you say you place second, third, and fourth, for people who don't understand what goes on at a show, how many competitions are there?
There's a lot of competitions, but they're categories. And so I competed in masters, which is women. So you have a masters over 35, you have a masters over 45. I think it's 50, and then it's 60, right? And so I competed in the masters over 35. You have the overall of everyone that competed, and then you also have a height class. I'm a shorty, so I was in class A. So yes, and then there's I did not, and then there's open. I mean, excuse me, there is a novice and true novice. And so when you're in true novice, that means that you've never competed before. This is your first show. Novice means that you've never had an overall win. Number one, you've never placed first in your category or an overall category. And then it goes into your height class and goes into masters and from there.
Wow. I'm exhausted just thinking about this. So you placed in this most recent, competition, you placed two, three, and four,
I
right?
did, yes.
Okay. Tell me about the video that I found to be so compelling. It's on your Twitter feed. Tell everyone what your Twitter handle is.
My Twitter handle is Sherry Amore, which is SherryAmor 12. Sherry Amore 12.
Okay. So you'll find the video there. Now, tell us why you did the video.
So I get a lot of messages. A lot of people will send me questions. A lot of people will try and figure out, what I do, who I am. But I got this one comment. And this young lady, she said, "Why are you gratifying, or glorifying being placing second, third, and fourth? And because if you're not first, you're absolutely nothing." And for me, in general, I was like, if I'll say this, my old me would have took that to heart. I would have been like, you're right. Second, third, and fourth is nothing because I didn't place first. I didn't get the trophy. I would have spiraled all the way down. But that was a matter of for me to say, you know what? No, because this was my first show and I came and I got three awards. I walked away with three. And then on top of that, there's so many people, maybe 2 to 5% of people that say they're going to do a show actually do one, are committed and dedicated, for 10 to 12 weeks of transforming their body, eating the same foods, going down a rabbit hole of negativity, wondering, when the end is going to come, and walking around hungry on a competition day. Like, there's very few people that complete it. And then also too, I put in the work. I was in the gym each and every day. Nothing ever lapsed when it came to my career, my family. And I said, you know what? No, I'm going to be very proud of myself because second, third, and fourth as my first time, you know what? No, you know what? You can go ahead and you can have that. If you don't want to celebrate your wins, each and every one of them, regardless of where you fall, if you're on that stage, you're a winner because not many people can say that they've done it. And so, I had to let her have it. I had to let her know that, in real time, sweetheart, you need to be able to celebrate every win that you get, small, medium, or large. It doesn't matter. You have a right to celebrate. You have a right to be happy and excited for your growth and the things that you can do and things that you're willing to go after. I'm going after first. Absolutely. I'm already in preparation, 12 weeks out, but that doesn't mean that I still can't celebrate the fact that as a two-time, only had two shows, and I've got six medals to put on my wall. Baby, you tell me how many you got. You tell me, and when you let me know, then we can have a conversation.
Oh, watch out now. The warden just arrived. Oh no. All right, got you roiled up. So here's the deal. What was the most important takeaway? And that is everyone out there celebrating every single win.
Absolutely.
Forget the number in front of it and all you showed up. That's your first win.
That's right.
You did the work. That's part of the win. You
Mhm.
absolutely lived a life of meaning and purpose. There's another win. And whatever medal you walked away with, it is exactly what it is. One never knows. And the fact that you walked away with three medals is just ridiculous. And so, congratulations to you. But most importantly, thank you for posting that video. It was absolutely real. It
Mhm.
was stop. just stop now and ask yourself, are you doing that? That it's what I love to call shoulding on yourself.
Uh-huh.
I should have been
Absolutely.
better. I should have gotten number one. You're shoulding. No, 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 no. And that's why I love listening to, your whole attitude. There's just something about you, Nisi, that is all about resilience. It really is. I mean, you're an extremely resilient person. Stuff happens, and then you have a little come to heaven session with yourself, and you go, got to change it up, and then you take yourself on, and you move on. You know, that whole survival mode is that gut, that real gut punching survival feeling, like I got to get up in the morning, got to make this work. It's lacking in so many people.
Yes.
But I think that when you get too much in life, and you get a little soft mentally, and you're like, well, I'll let it slide. What do I need to do anything? For you, it was like, no, there's no slide, there's no wiggle room, there's no sliding,
No.
and you've proceeded to do this basically with your life, which
Oh
is
yeah.
really cool. I love that whole attitude. So when you're talking to people who are feeling helpless, hopeless, and defeated,
Mhm.
they're like, I'm a train wreck. I'm like, I'll throw out I'm 50-year-old woman,
Mhm.
and look at me. I can't even look in the mirror. Damn.
Mhm.
I'm 50 years old and I'm carrying 50 large on board too.
I
And
understand
I'm
the
just
pain.
feeling hopeless. So what's the point anyway? Life is over. I'm 50, that whole thing. So how
Mhm.
do you approach someone like that?
Well, first I say, well, tell me why, right? I want to know why. And a lot of times there's a lot of things that we can avoid. Sometimes that we're helping people too much and not getting it in return. We're giving people more than what we actually have. We're not addressing our doubts, our fears, our frustrations. So when I understand why, the main thing here will be going into saying, okay, well, now what can you change? What can you physically change? Is there something that you can do to change the outcome of the situation? When they say no, well, it doesn't involve me, or I'm just an outsider, or no, because it's a long period for it to happen. I said, well, so why are you putting so much pressure on yourself when it is a step-by-step process and you cannot change things overnight? You didn't get in this situation overnight, and it's not going to fix itself overnight.
But
um
it's hard and it's
right.
work, and what if I, have XYZ happen, and it
Right.
becomes my
Uh-huh.
excuse and whatever else.
Exactly.
I mean, really, honestly, look, at the end of the day, life is tough. I mean,
Yes.
nowadays, especially, don't get me started. But seriously, life is tough. I
Mhm.
have ridiculous compassion and empathy for people out there who would love to be able to have more time to take care of themselves, but they don't for a
Uh-huh.
host of reasons. Their caregivers, maybe parents and or kids and grandkids, and it goes on like that. So, but when life looks like that, what are the tiniest little steps you can take, right? Isn't that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, priorities. What are your priorities today? Set a schedule. Look at what you can change today. And if there's nothing that you can change today, now you figure out what is the next step into changing it even more. Right? If you can't do it today, can you do it tomorrow? What can you do right now? Because that's the thing. What can you do? Essentially, again, it's like, I'll use nutrition for an example, right? When people say, well, I don't have time to cook. Okay, tell me one day that you have that you're able to just meal prep. Oh, Sundays. Okay, well, that is your one day to get all your food together. That is your day that you can now no longer have an excuse. Oh, well, I go to church. Okay, you got to come home, right? Okay, you're right. And so I give them situations like that to show that there's balance. And then I also say, make yourself a schedule. Make yourself a schedule. And find out what your week is going to look like by laying out things. And when you know that you have space to finish something that you couldn't finish Monday, on a Tuesday, Put it in that space. Don't feel so bad about it. But as long as it's done in the week, stop making unrealistic expectations of yourself day to day when you know that you really can't reach those particular goals. And so, goal setting is number one for me. Making having a strategy and a system and a schedule. Those things save my life every single
Yeah, and strategy is so important. So,
time.
wow, this has just been so amazing. Every time I do one of these podcasts, I'm just totally blown away by the BTW. Oh, by the way, I was a homeless, hold on a sec. I'm going to have that edited out. My little- okay. So, when I do these podcasts, I'm just blown away by the BTWs, by the way. Oh, by the way, I was a homeless pregnant mother, and I'm trying desperately to make it all work.
Hmm.
And I went into survival mode, and look at me today. So
Hmm.
it's really wonderful to hear about the struggles, challenges, and triumphs. That's what's so terribly important. So what's
Hmm.
your next competition? What's your next challenge? What are you doing?
So my first book is coming up on because I am a published author. I have my first book that is coming up on this see my see 18, 19, 20 on its fourth year anniversary. Fourth year
Well, tell me
anniversary.
the name of the book. Go for it.
Yes, it's called Uncovering the New You, Change Your Mind, Change Your Circumstances. And it is a memoir of my life. Everything that I just told you, and it is also a self-help book because there's ways in there for you to be able to write and write it out. I ask you questions. I prompt you the same way that I prompted myself in the book. It is available all across the board, and you can get it from me, my website. You can get a signed copy from me, and then it's also on
What
Amazon as
is
well.
your website?
Well, it's a Shopify site, and so I would have to write that out. It's pretty long, you know.
Okay,
I
no, just go to the Twitter feed, figure it out, DM her. You'll know one way or the other. Fantastic. Really, congratulations on the book. So many of our members have written books
oh yeah,
about all kinds of incredible transformations.
oh yeah,
And it's a gift to people to be able to inspire
oh yeah,
and to
it is.
help them really see that there's hope, because sometimes they look at some of the members and they look at you and they go, oh, she's got all those muscles and she's already in perfect shape and she's doing all this really exciting stuff. And, it's just hopeless. I mean, no one understands the stories
Behind it.
behind the success.
Oh yeah,
And the whole purpose of the podcast is to understand the stories, to be able to inspire, because everyone's got a story and some of them are just mind-boggling. They
and
really are.
and I want to add in this. So I have pretty sensitive, but I dealt with alcoholism. I dealt with the suicidal attempts. I dealt with depression. So don't sit here and think that, oh, my mind was always good and that I was always this strong. I didn't. I had to pull myself out of those areas. So if you're dealing with any of that, just know I am a sexual assault survivor. I am a domestic violence survivor. I have been through some stuff. You understand what I'm saying? I've been through some stuff. And the reason why I keep going is because I have reason to. I'm still here. In any of those situations, I would not be here talking to you right now. And so just know that what you're going through, it's only temporary, but it's only as long as you decide that you're not going to address the problems. That's the biggest thing. You've got to start addressing it one at a time, day after day after day. You can't give yourself reason to quit. You can't give yourself excuses. You can't limit yourself. You have to say, I want to get out of this space, and you've got to create a new one or find a space to go. You know what I mean? I created my own because I didn't have a space to go. I had to figure it out,
I
So,
love it. And there it is. That's where the resilience comes from. And that is, I had to figure it out. It's
mhm,
it's just, you sit down. I want to, personally thank you for sharing that, because I know that that wasn't easy to share by any means. But
mhm.
again, it just layered on even more authenticity and reality to where all of us are coming from. And like I said, everyone's got many stories, and we are so absolutely honored that you came on board, Coach Nisi, and that you shared with us today. I'm hoping that by, listening to your words, people will truly be much more hopeful, feel less defeated, and really feel as though they're empowered. So I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast, the Club 100 podcast, because you're absolutely awesome. And good luck with your next challenges and all
Mhm.
the work you're doing right now, and just celebrate every single one of those wins, every
Absolutely.
single one. And everyone out there, that wraps up another episode of the 100 Club podcast. Please follow us at 100, that's the red 100 numbers, 100 Club 100. So that's at 100 Club 100. And honestly, please join up, because I know you got stories too, and we want to hear them. We want to be here to inspire and support you. So, and we will give you a royal welcome too, won't we, Nisi?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. With that, thank you so much. What a fabulous episode. Bye bye,
Thank you.
everyone.